It started on a chilly Friday evening. Sarah, Luke, Emily, and Josh were sitting around a bonfire in Sarah's backyard, sharing ghost stories and roasting marshmallows. Their phones buzzed simultaneously. "Weird timing," Josh remarked, fishing his phone out of his pocket. "Probably just a group notification," Emily replied, her voice dismissive. But as they each checked their phones, their smiles faded. The message read, "Help me. It's so dark. Please find me." The sender? Mark. Mark had died 6 months ago in a car crash. Sarah's hand trembled as she stared at the screen. This isn't funny. Who's messing with us?" "It's gotta be someone who hacked his old number," Luke said. "Or a glitch in the system," Josh suggested. But even he couldn't explain why the message chilled him to his core. Emily's face turned pale. "No one's using his number. I was at the funeral when his mom canceled it." They sat in silence. The crackle of the fire suddenly loud and oppressive. Another buzz broke the quiet. The message read, "I'm cold. Come back to where it happened." They all knew what the message meant. The curve on Pinewood Road, where Mark had lost control of his car. "This isn't real. It can't be real," Luke said, standing abruptly. "But if it's a prank, we're going to find out who's behind it." "You're suggesting we go there?" Emily asked, her voice rising. "You're welcome to stay here," Josh said. "But I'm going. This is too weird." One by one, they reluctantly agreed. The drive to Pinewood Road was tense, the car filled with a heavy silence. When they arrived, the road was desolate, bathed in the eerie glow of the moon. They parked near the rusted guardrail, its surface still dented from the crash. The cold air bit at their skin as they stepped out. "Okay, we're here," Sarah said, hugging her jacket tightly around her. "Now what?" Their phones buzzed again. This time, the message was a single word. "Below." Emily's voice cracked. "What does that mean? Below what?" Josh pointed to the ravine. Maybe down there?" "No way," Emily said, taking a step back. "I'm not climbing down there in the dark." Luke clicked on his phone's flashlight and stepped toward the edge. "I'll check. You all can wait here." "Like hell we're splitting up," Sarah said, grabbing her own flashlight. Reluctantly, they descended the steep incline, their flashlights cutting through the oppressive darkness. At the bottom, they found the twisted remains of Mark's car, its metal frame covered in rust and weeds. "This is so wrong," Emily muttered, tears glistening in her eyes. Luke's flashlight swept across the wreckage. "Wait, there's something?" He bent down and picked up a small object. It was Mark's phone, impossibly intact despite the crash and the months that had passed. As they stared at it, the screen flickered to life. A video began to play automatically. In it, Mark's terrified face appeared, illuminated by the faint glow of his phone screen. "If you're seeing this," he whispered, his voice shaking, "I'm not gone. I'm trapped. It's so dark here. Please." He glanced over his shoulder, his expression turning to one of sheer horror. "Oh God, it's coming. Don't let it take you too." The video cut off abruptly. Suddenly, the air around them grew icy. The wind whipped through the ravine, carrying with it a low, guttural moan. Shadows began to coalesce around the wreckage, forming shapes that moved unnaturally. "We need to leave now," Sarah screamed, grabbing Emily's arm. As they scrambled back up the incline, their phones buzzed again. Against their better judgment, they glanced at the screens. It's too late. The shadows surged forward, moving faster than they could climb. Luke turned, his flashlight catching a glimpse of something. It wasn't just shadows, it was Mark, his face twisted and wrong, his eyes black voids. His mouth opened unnaturally wide, emitting a piercing scream that froze them in place. "Why didn't you save me?" he shrieked, his voice overlapping with dozens of others, each more agonized than the last. Emily screamed as hands, cold, skeletal, and impossibly strong, emerged from the ground, grabbing her ankles. She was yanked down so fast she didn't have time to resist. Her flashlight tumbled, illuminating her terror-stricken face as the earth swallowed her whole. "Run," Josh yelled, shoving Sarah forward. But it was futile. The darkness wasn't just around them, it was alive, creeping into their mouths, their eyes, their minds. It whispered secrets they couldn't understand, but that filled them with indescribable dread. The last thing Sarah saw before the darkness consumed her was Mark's twisted smile. He leaned close, his breath cold against her ear, and whispered, "You didn't come to help me. Now you'll stay with me. Forever." Their screams echoed briefly, then were silenced. The ravine grew still, the wreckage untouched, as if no one had been there at all. Their phones, lying abandoned, buzzed one final time. Welcome to the dark.